Hello and welcome to the Too Much Time on Our Hands podcast. You're joining us on the stream. Yes, there may only be two of us at the moment. It's just me, Tom, and Russ.
What's up?
We are going to be looking this week at games, specifically horror games, but we're probably going to throw in a few just games in general that have either we think need a remake or games that need a sequel. And the reason that this has been inspired is because we have noticed that Silent Hill 2 has just had its remake come out. We've obviously just gone off the back of all the Resident Evil remakes. We've had Dead Space was completely remade from the ground up. And to hit the sequel button, we've also heard that Alien Isolation has a sequel in the works. The originally named Alien Isolation 2, which gives
It
me
does
pause
feel
for thought.
like when the name of your game is Thing, and you could just
Yes.
change the second one of those things and it still work perfectly well. So, you could change it from Alien Isolation to, Alien Vague Sense of Unease. Or
Yeah,
Alien
but what,
Did
what's
I Leave
what's
the Gas
the
on?
what's the one word instead of
Oh, it could be,
feeling
it
of
depends what
unease?
it could go different. It could be Alien Ennui. It could
Alien
be,
ennui, yes.
uh, you know, Alien Nibbliness.
Yeah,
Anything you want, really.
yeah, almost that sort of sensation that like you need to have a poo, but it's just you don't feel like it's quite there yet. I don't know what that feeling is. There must be a sort of a word for it. The Viz is
It would be
Profanosaurus would probably have a
Alien
word for it.
Anticipation.
Alien anticipation. Yes, that's good. Oh, yeah. Anything shun isn't it?
Hmm.
As anticipation, isolation, renovation, alien
Alien Renovation.
renovation.
Yeah, it's gone to like a daytime sort of people who are at home from work TV kind of format.
What about the boardroom sort of equivalent? Alien innovation,
Hmm.
alien disruption.
Yeah, very big right now.
Yeah, very big right now. But yeah, we'll do quick introductions. Dan is going to be joining us at some point. He just told us to get
Allegedly.
started. Allegedly, he's going to be with us very soon. So I'm Tom. Hello. Handies. Hello. Hello. And obviously, this is Russ. Russ, hello.
Hello.
Hello. So yeah, as we said, we're going to be looking at horror games, and we're probably going to throw in some other games, but mainly horror games that either need a remake or desperately need a sequel. And
Hmm.
funnily enough, I because there have been so many horror games that have been remade recently, found it easier to think about games that need a sequel more than anything else.
Hmm.
so, so I don't know whether Russ, you fancy kicking off with any idea that you might have.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not very good on horror games because they're not really something that I tend to choose to do.
Okay,
So
that's
it's
okay.
not
We can
it's
broaden
not
this
a
out.
genre I go
I
deep
don't
into.
I don't want us
Right,
to
but
be.
there's one that this is a game that I've never played, but it is from like the PS2 era, and
Hmm.
if they were to remake it, I would quite fancy giving it a go. So I don't know if you ever played it. It's Fatal Frame. You ever heard of that one?
Fatal Frame.
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
So this is a game where you have a camera that can see ghosts,
Yeah.
and you have to sort of solve the. I think like your brother's disappeared or something like that. I
Hmm.
don't know. Don't come at me.
There were loads of
However, that was going
sequels,
to
I
happen.
remember.
Yeah,
The one that
like,
I
there's a
had
whole.
was Crimson Butterfly.
It's a Japanese game though. There was a whole bunch of sequels, which I think not all of got released over here. I think it kept going in the sort of the Japanese and Asian market a lot longer than it did here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was thought it sounded really intriguing, and I would. But whenever you go back to a game of that era and pick it up new, it's always a bit disappointing because just things don't work how you'd expect them to, and all that sort of stuff. So unless you have
Very
real
much
fondness
of
for
its
them,
time with
Yeah.
the sort of classic tank controls.
yeah, definitely. Which I just can't like get my head around these days. Like original Resident Evil, where you have to like work out where you are or where the camera is in relation to your character, and then adjust your control scheme appropriately in a split
Yes.
second while you're getting your neck ripped out by a dog is not something I've ever particularly enjoyed.
Yeah, and usually at points ending up walking back into the door you've just come
Yeah,
through.
you walk through a door and then you
Yeah.
just walk straight back out of it again because down is now up.
Yeah. Or walk forward is now walk backwards.
Yeah, and at the
And
time they're all
yeah,
convinced, oh, this innovative control scheme is really going to help people with the immersion, as opposed to this innovative control scheme is really going to fuck people off.
yeah, absolutely. That's a good one, man. I do. I had one of the sequels, Crimson Butterfly, on the Xbox,
Hmm.
and it was touted as being like better than the version that was released on the PS2 because it had a first person mode in it. And I can categorically tell you, it didn't make it better. It made it more pant-wettingly scary to
Yeah,
experience that in fucking first person
Daniel.
because you actually are the person fumbling around with the camera trying to take the pictures of the ghosts to stop them from fucking ripping your neck out. And it was pant-fillingly scary.
Yeah, I've heard this about
Get
the
far.
VR version of Resident Evil 7. Like it's just
It's too much.
it's not a fun experience. It's like the closest you can get to being stalked and murdered through a creepy farmhouse.
Yes.
Great.
Yes. Brilliant. Yeah, loving it. Loving
I mean,
it.
you can definitely get closer.
Hmm.
By
Just
actually being stalked and
who was the fella in the 90s who shot the guy
the
on his
blind guy
farm?
from Sneakers.
Yeah, him. Yeah, no, the
Yeah.
guy who shot the guy on his farm when he broke into it.
Oh,
Ah,
Tony Martin.
Tony Martin.
Tony
Yeah, there we
Martin.
go.
A wildly weird callback there.
Yeah. Just to
This is why you don't get booked on those I Love 1994 shows.
Anyone remember Realm Motes? It's just
yeah. Who remembers Tiswas? I would just like to quickly point out Dan has joined us, as you will probably have noticed. Hello, Dan.
Hi, you.
And don't forget to say hi, Handies.
Hi, handies.
Handies are all here. Welcome, Dan, to the stream. We've got kicked off. Russ, his first choice was the Fatal Frame horror
This is a
games
remake. It's a remake.
to remake.
It's like if they were to make a remake of it, I would give it a go because I've always been really intrigued by that game. Never got a chance to play it, and can't be asked to go getting an old version.
Yeah, you could definitely get it on an emulator. I mean, you could definitely acquire it through legal means.
It's probably on Steam, but I just don't want to play an
Probably.
old like an early 2000s game.
Yeah, 'cause
Remake
the
the whole
graphics
thing, and
engines
then I'll give it a go and tell you if it was any good or not.
yeah, the graphics engines would probably be of a time, wouldn't they? Those sort of very odd,
Yeah.
sort of expressionless kind of polygon stretch, like bitmap stretched polygons, where all the faces kind of open, and they have the symmetry line down the middle. Do you remember those? Do you remember those games where they like the characters used to have like lines?
Well, they even used to
everything was
sometimes
perfectly
save a
mapped.
bit of memory for texture space by just having half the texture and flipping it.
Yeah. And then just, yeah, the complete mirror, which often meant there was a line down people's faces, which I always find to be an interesting thing. Yeah, very scary games. Good choice. Very good.
Tom,
I would say, yes. Hello?
you go on.
I have, yes. Hello?
Oh,
Yeah. Okay, now I'm moving on. Right, yeah. Okay, so Dino Crisis.
nice.
What the fuck
I
is Dino Crisis?
absolutely loved Dino Crisis when it came out. It was so much fun, and I was obsessed with Jurassic Park. Absolutely loved that. So the idea of actually playing through a game where you go into a research facility and all the dinosaurs have escaped because they've been messing around and tinkering with the genetic code of dinosaurs, brilliant. And it was great fun. It was the absolute classic kind of PlayStation 1 era. And it was good story, and so I think it hits both buttons. I count it as a horror game because it's pretty scary. I hope it falls into that
Is
category.
this the? I might be completely barking up the wrong tree. Is this the game where you had like you could control both of your arms independently?
No,
And it was
that
that had
is
something to
the
do with
little
dinosaurs, though, didn't
known and definitely one that I think needs a remake, and it was on my list, so I may as well cover it here as well.
Nice.
That one is Jurassic Park Trespasser.
That game was,
Right.
yeah, I remember that.
But you
And-
like everyone found it because you as soon as you tried to do anything, you basically just went with your
You
arms.
had
at
one.
everything.
You had one arm in the world, which held everything from pistols to shotguns to machine guns and rocket launchers and boxes, and it didn't matter what way it was. Your arm could pick it up, and so you controlled this one arm. It was supposed to be an incredibly immersive game to the point where your health monitor was a tattoo of a heart on your female character's chest. So you had to look down at your chest to see what how Phil your heart tattoo
Oh,
was, and
early
also stare at her
2000s.
cleavage. And she was voiced by Minnie Driver, which I think was pretty cool. And it was set on Site B of the Jurassic Park Research Islands, and it was I think Richard Attenborough, not Richard David, no Richard Attenborough,
It wouldn't be
even
David.
provided. Yeah, it
David
wouldn't be
Attenborough.
David. My brother couldn't make it, so I'm here instead. Um, he does loads of voiceovers of like memories of how InGen came to take over the island, the experiments they did, and it's like it drips with atmosphere. It's just completely let down by really janky controls, really bad, very early implementation of physics, and the AI, the AI of the dinosaurs was meant to be a sort of fluctuating ecosystem of angry, sad, and reacting to stimuli, but they realized actually that was going to be too much for a game of that era. And so they basically just set all the enemy dinosaurs to unbelievably aggressive and all of the friendly dinosaurs to unbelievably docile, unless provoked. But you could provoke them by as much as just walking into them. And you can get it. It's like abandonware now. You can find it and play it. And I mean, it's an experience. It's very difficult to play, but it's quite rewarding. But yeah, sorry, I went off on a tangent there. That's Jurassic Park Trespass, which I think needs a remake because I think there was a lot of revolutionary stuff it tried to do. But yeah, anyway, Dino Crisis, I think definitely needs a remake, and B, if that remake goes well, it needs a sequel because it was badass. It was great fun. Action was brilliant. And it's one of those ones that's just kind of like it's so easy, it's crying out. And in this day and age, everyone would go, "Oh, it's a bit of a Jurassic Park rip-off," but I think that's part of the charm. Come on, get the big knobs around the table, get the rights sorted out, get us Dino Crisis. Come on,
Yeah, stop being a wimp. Get the big knob around the table.
yeah, get the big knobs around the table. Yeah,
All we really want is some big
yeah,
knobs around a table.
yeah. So there we go. That's definitely my one.
I got a couple, so I'll start with one.
Hit me.
Okay.
It's us.
Did anyone remember a game? I played it on Amiga. It was in the similar vein to Monkey Island, but it was a horror game called Dark Seed.
I do
And
remember that.
like
Yeah.
you had, so every night you'd have nightmarish visions, and it used H.R. Geiger again.
I remember this.
Amiga. And the idea was that like these aliens were like splitting your head open essentially, and every night you'd have to wake up and try and figure out what was going on before you birthed an alien from your head.
Lovely.
It was really good. I remember it being really good. I was young at the time, and the fact that it kind of terrified me, I think, made it really good. But yeah, it was an enjoyable game. I seem to remember. Like we got a remake of Beneath the Steel Sky. We got a remake of
did.
Monkey Island. So similar kind of thing. Maybe like a glob up of this. Maybe make the grim scenes a bit more grim. And yeah, I think you could have a lot of fun with that. You don't have to do too much with it. Just do what they did with Monkey Island, which is just better voice acting, maybe a better music, and then slightly more fluid kind of look to it. Or just start the whole thing again. I mean, essentially, there's similarities, I suppose, to Alan Wake in a lot of ways, but yeah.
Game.
Yeah, have you played the new one?
No, because it's very expensive, and I don't have that much money.
Tom, if you can find it cheap, play the new one is incredible.
Yeah, everyone is raving about it. There's
Really good.
where I work. There's a kind of games forum on our Slack, and people are going nuts over it at the moment. I was like, I've played Control, and they were like, that's not Alan Wake 2. I was like,
Control's
"No,
fucking great as well, though.
Control is great.
Yeah.
Control is good. I love that whole kind of like SCP sort of vibe.
Yeah.
Secret Foundation studying weird normal objects possessed by weird powers. That's fucking awesome.
Yes.
That's such a simple thing. But yeah, man, Darkseid, that's a good one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do remember that. It's a really weird sort of bizarre hellscape with all of the, like you said, all the Geiger.
Then just wakes up in the normal
artwork.
town. Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Very, very of its time. I don't know whether you
Yeah.
could necessarily make that sort of stuff these days.
Well, in 1992, Computer Gaming World called it the most integrated and effective field for a horror adventure yet. I've just read. So, absolutely you could. No reason
Probably
why not.
hadn't been anything like it up to that point.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I mean, obviously, it's going to take a lot from Alien, but without,
Well, only the visual style.
yeah,
Although I do guess it is kind of like a thing, isn't it? Like it's, the xenomorphs are impregnate through the mouth, burst out through the chest. This one was like, what? Impregnate through the brain, bursts out the brain. So why not impregnate up the bum, burst out the bum?
yeah,
You weren't
obviously.
listening, were you?
I was reading up on Dark Seeds, Tom,
Yeah, you were.
but I heard bum twice, so I thought this probably doesn't warrant my attention.
Such a wise man.
Yeah, I've heard bum. If once you've heard bum once, you're like, okay, there's a second bum. Okay,
I said it
no,
again. But
I'm
what
out
if
now.
I'd said it a third time?
I'm back in,
You're back in.
back in 100%.
See,
Yeah, yeah.
I know this as well. Three
just-
bums and you're back.
And I've just been reading up on it. It's quite entertaining. Maybe we'll do a deep dive on it. There's
okay.
there's some nice lore behind it. So
Very good. Well, I'm interested. I always like a deep dive.
yeah,
Always like a deep dive. Very good. That sounds a great choice. Shall we go back to being Russ? Hit us.
with your rhythm stick.
Hit me.
Hit
Hit
me.
us.
So I'm probably going to have to. I'm steering away from horror games now, but there are a couple that I'd like to get remade. If they could just pop that into their calendars, that'd be really convenient. As just ones that they feel like would like the gameplay is really good, but they just weren't served well enough by the technology of the time or whatever.
Yeah.
And so one I'd really like to see redone is the Pod Racer game from the N64, which was brilliant, but a bit janky as well.
Yeah.
Like they felt like they were made out of tissue paper, those things. And like controlling it with an N64 controller. The N64 controller was good, but it also wasn't in a lot of ways. And it wasn't great for driving stuff with the single analog stick. Because if you had like dual analog sticks, you could kind of have like a throttle and a steering thing for each engine and kind of try and control it like that. It'd probably be maddeningly difficult and everyone would switch back to just normal left, right, go faster, go slower buttons quite quickly. But you could do it.
I remember the moment I figured out Pod Racer was when you realised that if you're controlling it, looking at the back of it, you're going to lose. But if you're controlling it, looking at what the front was doing, you could probably win quite easily.
Yeah, you were just getting like towed along on the back there. Like it was a bit like sort of hovercraft stuff almost. You had to sort of steer before you thought you needed to.
Yeah.
So that because steering would kind of just like turn you around in the air, but didn't actually change the direction you were going in until you then started getting the thrust pointing you that way.
See, so it's actually it seems more
It
complex.
was really, the driving mechanics were really well done. They did not feel like cars at all. Like I don't know what impression you're meant to have of how those things would handle, but I think they did a really good job. They didn't control like any other. It wasn't like a driving game with cars. It wasn't like F-Zero. It wasn't like what was that other one on the N64? Extreme G, where you rode these,
Wipeout as well.
hypersonic motorbike things, or Wipeout. I didn't control like any of the others. It felt like a really good implementation of how those things would work. It just sort of you suffered from like the tracks being a little bit like at the speeds it was going at, everything just sort of turned into a bit of a blur. The N64 couldn't draw things all that far off in the distance, which is an issue when you're traveling at 3 times the speed of sound, especially on like the sort of the Mos Eisley race. All those rock pillars and stuff would appear sort of a fraction of a second before you smacked into them.
Yeah, that was tough.
And just like when you crashed, something just went as opposed to the really
Kind of like
satisfying
bounced off the walls, didn't they?
Yeah, whereas like the pod racers crashing in Phantom Menace is some of the best.
I mean, yeah, they die.
Effects. Like they look really good when they crashed and disintegrated.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, remake that, please.
Yes,
I thought I was sticking to horror. I've got a couple of horror ones, then I've got some other ones as well. If we're remaking anything,
Well, I think,
Well, go on. Let's stick with
I
horrors.
just don't really do horror games, so
that's fair enough.
that's about it.
But I got okay. Well, I got one that I really want remade that I've wanted remade for a while. So
Bounce you back to horror. Or are
Oh,
you fancy? Are you doing a remake? Just a
I can
whatever.
do it just a generic remake. But it's your turn, Tom. It's fine.
No, no, it's fine. We can go out of order.
Okay, non-horror game. I would like a remake of Road Rash, please,
Fair. Yeah, fair.
with a better story. With a story. Let's start there, actually. About why it is you're taking part in these lethal races with chains and clubs and whatnot. I would like that, please, in the style of Fast and Furious. You could even call it Fast and Furious. I'm fine with that. Whatever. Just Road Rash remake. Please.
So you want sort of a FIFA style sort of story mode?
Yeah, although, I want this to be good. So, unlike the FIFA style story mode, which was not good.
There were a couple of relatively recent iterations of Road Rash. There's one in like 2000.
Really? Seriously,
there
I
was
don't
a version
remember
for
that.
it done for the N64. And apparently, there was one done in 2009,
Yeah.
sold on the EA mobile site only. So I'm guessing that was a huge heap of shit.
Doesn't sound good. Hey, give us £400 and you can have a bike rather than just run along the side of them with a chain. But yeah.
Somebody did like. I don't want to sound like too old man-ish, but fuck it.
Oh, here it comes.
Like somebody did put a thing like showing like the difference in like menu screens on games now. Like they put up like the Fortnite or the what are some of the games that are actively that the kids are playing, like Valorant
Roblox.
or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's just like Battle Pass this season, do this, buy this, buy this.
Yeah.
And then they compared that to the Halo 3 one where you've just
Yeah.
got like campaign multiplayer options in the corner, and then the rest of it's just nice scenes and lovely music, and it's not trying to get you to fucking buy anything. And that made me feel slightly nostalgic.
I saw a
Yeah.
post online talking about the nostalgia of the Halo series, and it just said, I think everyone just needs to remember how fucking awesome the Halo games were. Like everyone shits on it now, like the more recent versions, like the more recent ones that come out. But 1, 2, and 3 were fucking iconic games. Like even Reach is a great experience with all the hallmarks of a fantastic single player.
I love
All the
Reach.
Yeah,
Reach
is
it just
great.
didn't really do anything in particularly new. You got different Spartans and stuff, but like it was kind of just like filling in some gaps. But it was
I
was
loved
really
it.
good.
I love the story.
I love the ending.
Yeah, the ending is awesome. Like it, someone said it was a proper good actually moment. They were like, growing up is realizing that Cortana chose Noble Six first, and then someone went, actually, I think you'll find that in the earlier novels that was set, she's already chosen the chief by now. So actually, he's the second choice, and then it's the chief again. And I was like, the worst thing is, I would have been that guy had that guy not got in on that.
Tom, where do mansplainers get their water?
I don't know.
Well, actually,
Well, actually, that was but I think we just need to all agree the Halo games are great.
they
Halo
are
5's
good.
not so
Halo
good,
5
but-
shite.
yeah, but
yeah.
they're great games. 1 to 3 especially, and ODST and Reach, sublimely great games.
Halo Reach for the Stars, the S Club edition. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What
your
the
heart
so
as
like
well.
yeah, Halo 4 was
I liked Halo 4.
less good, and Halo 5 was actively pants.
Yeah, Halo 5 was terrible. Halo
Infinite was
5
good.
They had
made
their
me mad.
moments. It's just
Yeah.
Halo 5 felt like it was half a game. It's like they almost got halfway through making a game and then just kind of stopped and went, we can probably release this.
The sad thing, it's just I didn't give a shit about Locke. That's all.
No.
They kind of teased us with a bit of Chief in there, and then like the rest of the time you're playing Locke, and I'm like, I just let me, just don't let me think I'm going to play Chief for any part of this game, and I'll probably enjoy it more. But if I'm playing it for like a third of the game rather than the whole of the game, just that's going to wind me up. So don't.
Also,
don't-
it's kind of massively missing the whole point of the Halo games. Is like, just remember, everyone loves the Chief.
Yeah.
If Halo 2
I love that
experiment.
series.
No,
Everybody
but
loves Chief.
Everyone loves Chief. Halo 2 like had
I
the
got a hot
RB
wife.
and the Chief as playable characters, and people were like, okay, but it's very telling that Halo 3 went straight back to you're just the Chief. Halo
Yeah,
4 was you're the Chief.
yeah,
You know, Halo 5 then massively deviating from that again to like some dude we don't give a shit about
yeah. And
and the
barely
Chief.
ever playing the Master Chief. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
really, and it's also then even more telling that Halo Infinite snuggled straight back into the Chief
yeah. Like
and is actually a really
classic
good
Chief.
game.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
great game.
Yeah, and
yeah,
out of any of them, Halo 5 probably been the easiest one to have like multiple different people,
yeah,
you know, operating in different areas of the map, and you could
yeah,
easily
And they also
have character
realised
switching
that the
in there.
main source of the wonderful, endearing characters of Halo, because it doesn't have many, was the interaction between Chief and Cortana. So what
yeah,
do? They brought back a good Cortana, because they were like, oh, that's what people like. It's like, yes, this is exactly what people like from these games. They want Cortana and Chief fucking stuff up and having top bants while they're doing it. That's what we want, and that's what Infinite gave us again, and we all enjoyed it.
Mm, I agree.
If
I
anything needs a
concur.
remake, Halo 5 needs to be completely remade from the ground up.
So they got some of the way with the remakes, didn't they? So they did Halo 1, they did Halo 2. They never did Halo 3, which I
Halo
think is
3 was
telling.
already.
Just, I think fucking.
I mean, it's like
I love Halo 3.
you go back and look at Halo 3, and it still looks stunning.
Halo 3 is my favorite
Bold.
of the Halos. It was the first one I played, to be fair, as well. So, as a result, I really, really enjoyed Halo 3. And it's one of
Bang
those
on.
games I played a lot. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're bang on though, Russ. Like the arts, they managed to make Halo 3 so well for the time that
Yeah.
it has stood the test of time.
It
And
just feels
they've
slow.
never
That's
had
the
to
only, only thing.
yeah, but they've never had to update the graphics engine for it
No.
because it looked good.
They
There's
did.
no bits where you're like, oh, that's a bit of a reach, didn't quite work.
Haha. Sorry.
Yeah. Like I suppose there's
Remember
one or
Reach.
two, like the bit where you've got like the big tank battle
Oh,
where
with
you're
the
like going
scarabs.
down the sandy slopes and there's vehicles everywhere and there's the two scarabs at the bottom. Are there two scarabs? There are two scarabs. Aren't
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Like-
That's one of my favorite sections of the
there? You
game.
go back and look at, and there's actually like 7 vehicles on
Yeah.
screen at any one time. They do a really
But it
good
felt
job
massive,
of like
yeah.
making sure that there's always something coming at you. But if you sort of stop and look, there's actually like 3 or 4 things just going bzzz around in the background. So like now you could now do that with like hundreds of tanks cascading down the slope. But they made it feel like you were in this insane mechanized rush down the
Yeah.
desert, even though you're actually kind of not if you stop
Yeah.
and have a look. But yeah, like there's no bits where you're like, what's going on here? Oh, that's meant to be a right. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's I love that at the end of that, you get inside the last tower, isn't it? And you bring down the shield and the shadow of intent, the cruiser starts drawing towards where Prophet of Truth is hiding. Just now, Prophet. The end has come. Also, he says some really badass line, and then suddenly, vroom, High Charity, the flood-infested former Covenant homeworld, appears in the sky above and just starts throwing like the flood spore blobs around, and they
Yeah.
smash through the windows, and then, oh shit, the flood's here now. It's like it was such a. Even the cutscenes were fucking great in Halo 3. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, once you get past by, oh fucking hell, the Arbiter's there. Oh, he's meant to be with you the whole time, isn't he? Just not fucking doing anything.
yeah. Although it's quite cool when you come out of High Charity with Cortana, and suddenly you're very aware that there's way more infected than just the like infector spore things than you can deal with, and then fucking Arbiter strolls in with a massive flamethrower, just like just absolutely mowing them down.
Yeah. Especially when you're
oh,
like,
badass.
where the fuck did you get that? I've been punching 400 zombies to death because there are
Yeah.
7 bullets on this level. And you're striding around with heavy weaponry.
Yeah, High Charity. That was It's always the bit of the game I'm pleased to be done with, because then
Yeah.
I think your last mission is on Halo, isn't it? but then that is,
I think
well,
the
whatever's
high charity level on Halo 3 just goes on a bit too long, especially at the
just a
harder
bit.
difficulty
Yeah.
settings. There's just like it saps momentum from it because you
Just
are
slightly.
like suddenly you're like normally in Halo you use a gun up, chuck it, grab another one. Like that the loop of gameplay is like, you know, empty your weapon, chuck a few grenades, hit someone, grab another gun.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
there's
very good
always
at letting you feel like you're not
weapons
really gonna run
around.
out. Yeah.
Whereas in that one, you're constantly nursing your ammunition and like really careful, like staying back and getting really careful headshots from a really long way away, and it's just not quite the sort of. It just, I think it just goes on a bit too long.
Yeah,
It's just
also
one
the
too
flood
many
forms,
gooey corridor after another.
like the flood pure forms are a bit tanky as well. Like
Yeah.
they take a lot to go down,
Yeah,
and
they really
it does
do.
feel like a slog.
And especially when you're far enough, like it hasn't seen you, you're really far away, and you're just shooting it for like a minute, and then it falls off the wall. That's not
Yeah.
particularly fun.
No, fair. That's fair. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame, really, isn't it? Although it has to be said that last desperate warthog run
Oh, I love that.
back to the Forward Unto Dawn is quality.
Yeah, I agree.
Go,
Yeah, that's just
Chief,
like-
go!
Just a nice little topper, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like there's
it's
no
that little
real need
icing
for
on
it.
that
Just a
little
fun
icing
little
on the
chase
cake.
bit at the end.
Yeah, because that was how Halo combat. You know, it's a nice foot. The snake eating its tail. That's how combat evolved. Ended was with the what do they call it? It was called the Maw, wasn't it? The M.A.W. Which I think stands for Marine Aviation Wing, because you're fighting your way to a longsword fighter, aren't you, to escape Halo just before it blows. Yeah, it was very nice. And of course, then Chief gets lost in space. Arbiter comes through the portal. It's finished. Love that. It's finished.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, we've gone a bit off topic there.
Yeah, so I'd like to remake Road Rash.
So I'd like to remake Road Rash. Yeah.
Yeah.
As we were saying.
Yeah.
Pedis. Yeah. Chain whips, dips, nips. Yeah.
Yeah.
On a bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
While we're on that, though, Time Splitters, I know they kind of remade it, but like a actual
Need a
new Time
better.
Splitters game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A sequel, a good Time Splitter sequel.
Yeah.
What was the one that was on Xbox? Because I know there was Time Splitters 2, and then there was a sequel, Time
There
Splitters.
was.
I can't remember what
Future
that was, but
Perfect. It was
Future
called.
Perfect
That was the one.
Yeah, that was on 360 as well.
360,
Yeah.
and that game was the tits, man.
was great,
It
yeah.
was so good.
I mean, and
Really
Time
funny.
Splitters 2 was immense as well.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
a
was. I
really,
love
really good
Time
game.
Splitters too. Yeah. I think Jax, who's watching this, has just been playing it actually because I know they obviously know they remade it. So it was. I'm intrigued to see if it's any good still.
Well, they remade Time Splitters 2,
Yeah. Pretty certain it's Time
or
Splitters 2.
remaster it.
Yeah. Just make Road Rash a 40k game, whips and chains and all that. Yeah, where you're like a sister on like a bike or something.
Well,
Or
what,
like
would, what would it be called in, sort of high Gothic? It wouldn't be Road Rash, but it'd be low Gothic, wouldn't it?
Heretic Smite or something.
Yeah.
Something almost like
Heretic Smudge, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Nurgle Rash.
Nurgle Rash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds gross,
Did
though.
the Time Splitters 2 remake actually get released?
I'm pretty certain they did.
Because I thought it was.
Not a remaster.
I think it was a remaster. Yeah.
A remaster.
It was like
Remaster. Yeah.
wasn't it like a fan project?
No, I think it actually. I'm pretty certain that one actually came out. I might be wrong. I know I haven't played
There's a
it.
thing called Time Splitters Rewind.
Rewind.
When the crowd say bow.
Select.
Select.
Up.
I
Wine.
don't think it ever actually got released.
Bow selector. Bow selector. Do you know what else needs either a sequel or a remake?
What?
Star Wars Republic Commando.
And yeah, that was a fun game.
Little squad shooter in the Star Wars universe set during the Clone Wars. Being able to direct your sniper and your det guy and your medic and your ammo. Oh, yeah, fucking yes. We need a remaster. Well, we need a remake. Let's just fucking remake that game and then give it a sequel. Come on, Delta Squad were badass. Doesn't even have to be Delta Squad. Could be Beta Squad. Alpha Squad,
Yep.
Echo Squad, whatever. Bring back the Commandos. It
Here
was
you go.
awesome.
Yeah, it was good fun.
And it had horror elements as well. The whole like second like campaign section
Mm.
was on an acclimator Star Destroyer kind of thing, like the not the Venators that you see in the next like in episode 3, but the ones that you see landing in Geonosis. Um, one of those drifting, and you're sent in to investigate why, and it's been taken over by sort of a classic horrible sort of gribbly alien kind of threat. But you get loads of scenes where you're walking down a corridor and poor Phase 1 clones are being like dragged out of view or being smashed by doors or doors are shutting just as you get to them. You know, it was proper like built up the atmosphere. And it was so cool to see something like that in the Star Wars universe and in a decent game. It was cool. It was really cool.
Nice. I
Makes
don't
me
think I ever
miss.
played that one.
It's really good. You can pick it up for like dirt cheap on
Mm.
GOG.com, or I think you can actually play it on Game Pass. Can you play it on Game Pass? It was
Mm.
on Steam as well for probably cheaps. But it's well worth it. Once you get past the awful menu system, which is definitely a console menu,
Yeah.
once you get past that, yeah, you can. It actually plays surprisingly well on the PC.
Cool. Russ?
Nice. So one more that I'd like to get redone. So this is probably, I don't know, this is like the first PC game that I got hugely into, was Transport Tycoon.
Have they not? Do they not just release one of them every year?
No, well they did, like there's been loads of like theme park and zoo tycoon and whatever. But this was like one of the original ones. It was made by one person who wrote the entire fucking thing in assembly language, which is like, it's just insane. You don't do that. It's like one step away from writing it in ones and zeros.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. I absolutely loved Transport Tycoon. Played it to death. When did it come out? Like 1990, maybe even like early 90s. It must have come out.
Yeah.
So there is like if you want to play it now, there is like an open TTD version of it that you can play on modern PCs, but it's just like the original game. I'd like it to be fully 3D and updated with a whole bunch more options for vehicles and things.
Yeah.
So if we could have a remake rather than a remaster of Transport Tycoon, but it still has to be isometric, and you still have to painstakingly manually replace all of your railway tracks with monorail tracks when you get to the year 2000, because otherwise it'd be too easy.
I'm just looking at OpenTTD,
Mm.
and it looks a freaking sweet. Exactly how I remember it.
Yeah. It's literally exactly the same, except you can now play on Mars or in like a sweet kingdom.
Nice.
You can set up also. I'm just looking at the sheer volume of things you can do. Like, you can set up just an agricultural sort of play. You can do it industrial settings.
Like there's tons and tons of mods that people have made for it as well, with like incredibly complex resource trees, where you got to get like, you know, this thing needs these 6 resources to make these things, which then go to make these things, which then go to make these things.
There's a new version of it. Looks like it's just been released, 14.1, with a ton of bugs. There's a huge changelog, so that, I mean, this clearly is still alive.
Yeah, people really love this game, and they're like actively doing stuff for it. But it still basically looks and works exactly the same as the original.
It looks to me like it's free as a daisy. Oh yeah, open.
Yeah, it's free.
Well, of course it is open TTD.
Hmm.
Transport Tycoon Deluxe. Is that what they're calling it?
Yeah, but the original game was called Transport Tycoon Deluxe. I don't know if I don't think there was ever a non-deluxe version.
Fucking awesome. That's awesome. I love that stuff. I love kind of city builders and things. I mean, it makes me miss the SimCity games so much.
Hmm.
I mean, the only one that the only
Mate,
SimCity game
get
I ever
on Timberborn. It's so fucking good.
Timber.
You still playing that?
I'm still fucking playing. Today, it's still in early access, but today update 6 is being released, so the water is now fully 3D, meaning that you can So previously, water was just like a value from the ground level upwards. So you couldn't really build like aqueducts or anything like that. Whereas now, you can. So you can build like pipe networks and aqueducts where you can go under and do other stuff. You've got like you can build automated sluices that divert water flow depending on how polluted it is or how deep it is. All sorts of amazing stuff. But genuinely,
Oh god,
play
it
it.
looks like
It's
the sort of
fucking
thing that
incredible.
I would end up ignoring my entire family for.
This is you're like, oh, what I want to do, I just want to stick one of these little things there. That'll take me what 5 minutes, and then you realise that to do that you need to achieve 50 other things, and that each one of those things requires you to do a couple of things as well. It's phenomenal.
I absolutely love these little mechanized beavers.
The bots, yeah, you can. So if you get your sort of science and stuff up, you can. So the like in my last playthrough, I ended up with this sort of like beaver utopia society based on robot slaves. So none of the robots actually did any work. It was all robots doing everything for them, and they just sat around loafing around the campfire and going for a swim.
I got one.
Yes.
On the back of the success of Space Marine 2, please can we have Space Hulk Into the Dark?
Yes.
Based on a combination of the game Space Hulk and the Boarding Actions game, the Boarding Actions board game. You can take on a different team, variety of different teams, maybe obviously Terminators being one of them. Maybe you'll just want like different Space Marines or something to go in there. Maybe a unit of Imperial Guard, although that sounds like suicide. Like just different teams going into like this boarding action situations. Maybe you build up your team. Maybe you start with like Navy breaches or something. And then as you're going on, you are just adding like Terminators and stuff like that. But Space Hulk, do a good Space Hulk. We haven't had a good Space Hulk in a very long time. Can we have one, please?
The last good one I remember was the one with the Gene Stealers.
I mean, they've all got Gene Stealers, but like it's
Yeah, sorry, I know that was a bit. Sorry, but like on the PC from the early 90s.
yeah, that was the last. That was the last good one I remember as well.
Yeah, Akkad to your left.
Yeah,
With all
like,
the cameras going out, and you felt like Gorman in the in
Yeah.
Aliens.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
like-
shit! I fucking
You
hell!
spent-
I told him to fall back.
you spent too long with one of your Marines,
Yeah,
and too long was 10 seconds.
yeah,
So like as a result, because Gene Stealers move so fast, like before you knew it, if you were in combat with a Gene Stealer, you were dead basically.
yeah.
Like I think that the odds of killing a Gene Stealer in hand-to-hand combat was like 1 in 5 or something.
Yeah. And if you had like, if you were able to maneuver your guys so that one was coming up the corridor, the same one was coming down, you could sometimes sandwich Gene Stealers between them.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it was just, oh, that moment where a screen goes,
Yeah.
no.
Especially if you had like 3 of them like lined up, because you can guarantee you're about to lose another 2 as well.
Yeah, yeah. He's just going to get chewed through.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Space Hulk. There was also a game a horror game called, I had to look it up because I couldn't remember, The Suffering on the PlayStation.
Oh shit! Yeah, I remember Suffering.
Yeah, that game gave me the willies.
That's
So,
the one with
yeah.
the prison, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah.
Civi 11 very recently did a playthrough of that.
Oh, really?
Worth watching. Yeah, he had a great time with the game.
Yeah.
CV11. Yeah, he had a good time with that. It's a good game.
What was the really bleak horror game that came out on Xbox and 360?
Condemned?
Condemned. That was the one as well. Yeah.
Condemned needs a remake, and funnily enough, Civi 11 has just done. Literally, that was his last video.
Really?
Was the playthrough of Condemned, and I forgot how fucking gritty that looked.
Oh my god.
That
Yeah.
game was
Yeah, it
built
was really
on an
grim, wasn't it?
early Lithtech engine.
Yeah.
You know, Monolith, who made
Yeah.
this, who made like Fear, and it's very much a looks of its time. But I just remember the terrifying shopping mall
Yeah.
level with all the guys and girls pretending to be mannequins,
Yeah.
waiting for you to, and then suddenly you turn around, you'd see one walking very mechanically away from you, and you'd be like, "What the fuck is going on?" Then suddenly, out of nowhere, one of them would suddenly come alive and bash you around the head with a steel pipe or
Yeah.
whatever. Fucking badass that game. That needs a remake.
Yeah.
That
I
needs
agree.
a remake.
I concur.
I'd also like to throw in as a bonus remake Jedi Outcast.
Yeah.
That was a great Star Wars game with a great character, and I think that Disney have missed a massive trick by declaring Kyle Katarn and all of that as not part of canon, because Kyle Katarn is one of the most Star Warsy characters that you're ever likely to create, and they got rid of him
Yeah.
for no reason that I can see. He was a LucasArts creation, and they still completely disavowed it.
And they
Shocking.
had the perfect guy to play him, which was the guy from the live action scenes in between
Yes.
in between you and your planes.
They
Yeah.
had cast an actor to be him.
Yeah, exactly. I don't see a problem with that. I don't care that it was 25 years old.
Exactly, and
yeah.
he was he was so good at it that in Jedi Outcast didn't ask him to come back. They just modelled the character on him.
Yeah, that's all they
They just
needed to
modelled
do.
the
Yeah.
in-game character, and I loved that game. I didn't even mind the fucking This is the thing. Jedi Outcast did lightsabers and the story very well.
Yeah.
Jedi Academy did the lightsabers really, really well, and not so much the story. But it also made Kyle into an even bigger badass because if you choose the dark side path in Academy, you end up fighting him as the final boss. And Kyle has some moves. He'll use lightning. He'll come up to you and grab you by the neck and punch you in the face repeatedly. Like this guy brawls, man. He's a hard boss to compete against. He's just so good. We need to bring that game back, man. We're doing all this shit like Outlaws and what was the Jedi Survivor and stuff like that. Like they're building this world out there, man. Catan is perfect. He needs to come back. He's a fucking Jedi. But no, we have
It does feel
Cal
like they
Kestis.
could drop him in quite easily to a lot of different things.
Yeah. Even if you don't make him out to be, because the thing is, Dark Forces, the first Dark Forces game, contains the first mission, which is called Operation Skyhook, which is him stealing the Death Star plans.
So
Which, of course,
as with so many things in this world, nobody's listening to the slightly older white men about this.
yes,
They're bringing back all the fucking Sabine Wren, all these things from the children's TV shows. When, oh, when is somebody going to do something to hit the sweet spot for the 45-year-old men?
God, we're just not represented at all, are we?
It's,
No.
I mean, it's, yeah.
oh, we're gonna get cancelled. No, these guys are too old and too white. Definitely don't need more of these guys. I would say also the No One Lives Forever games, they need remakes. They're fucking awesome. I always see people in these lists where I look at these lists for inspiration going, GoldenEye needs a remake. And it's like, no, it doesn't. No. Because every time they try and remake it, it loses all of the magic of the first one because that was lightning in a bottle for the time. And everyone remembers it being really good, but actually playing it today, not so good.
A bit painful, yeah.
Bit painful, very much of its time, but it was revolutionary for its time.
Jack says Eternal Darkness on GameCube.
And Eternal Darkness, Satanity's Requiem.
Yeah.
That was badass. Great
And
suggestion.
Star
Great
Wars
suggestion.
Galaxies.
Yes. Before they nerfed it with the big update where everyone
Yeah.
could be a Jedi from day one.
Yeah.
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 Because it felt like you were working towards something before they
Yeah.
did that. And then suddenly they were like, nah, everyone could be a Jedi. And then that was it. You couldn't walk anywhere
No,
without glow
he
sticks.
can't be a Jedi. He's not enjoying it like I am.
Yeah.
Not doing
he
Jedi
can't
right.
enjoy it like me. I'm enjoying it better.
Exactly, yeah.
Dungeon Keeper.
Yeah.
Those
Oh,
were good
Dungeon
games.
Keeper 2 was fucking incredible.
Yeah, phenomenal, wasn't it?
Yeah. That was another one that I sank a huge number of hours into.
Did they ever remake Ghouls and Ghosts? That feels like an obvious
Don't
one,
know.
doesn't it?
Like Muppets Racing, it's another one on the pile that needs to be remade.
Fucking, you've just hit the nail on the head, brother. Muppet Race Mania. There we go. The superior kart racer needs to take its mantle again.
It's only
as
the
the
game that
superior.
Mario Kart wishes it could have been.
My God. Do you know what Mario Kart was missing?
Muppets.
Unlocking, but by winning races, unlocking cutscenes from Muppet films.
Yeah, yeah.
Didn't see that in the Mario ones.
No. One game you did see that in though was I think it was called Enter the Matrix. Was the
You unlock
Matrix
scenes from
video
the
game.
Matrix.
You unlocked extra scenes, some from the films, some that mirrored scenes from the films, and yeah, it was all a bit. That needs a remake. There needs to be a good Matrix game,
I think anyone
like
gives a
Zion
shit.
Operatives and stuff. That would be good. Something that captures the
Do,
spirit of the first film.
do a game where I actually feel like John Wick as well.
Well, Super Hot.
Yeah, Superhot's the closest, I suppose.
Super Hot's about the closest.
Yeah, Superhot's a bit gimmicky though, isn't it? Because obviously it's when I move, they move, just like that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
which is always how I kind of feel like characters like John Wick must perceive the world
yeah,
as they're doing their, unbroken stream of like, it's like that Sir Sherlock Holmes thing, isn't it? First distract target, block one jab. Was it block one jab, haymaker,
Hmm.
scramble,
yeah.
discombobulate.
Yeah.
I imagine that's how they kind of think. Bam, boom, click, 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 click. It's all just seamless improvisation.
Jack
Move
says
on.
Matrix Online was the good Matrix game.
Matrix Online was the good Matrix game until it turned out not to be that good because the servers started to get desolate, and then they had to shut them all down. I think it only did it only last 2 years. I think it was only
It wasn't around
online
for a long
for two
time,
years.
was it?
2000. I don't know. I want to say it died in 2007, 5 or 7. I can't remember.
No, something like that.
But I remember their gimmick. Most of these servers used to have a gimmick when they turned off forever. There was always going to be a thing, and I remember the Matrix Online. All the characters suddenly got crushed. All their models just flattened, and then boop, disconnected forever.
Nice.
There are plenty more. Do you quickly want to speculate what? Well, I think we might have all of us played Alien Isolation.
A little bit. I got too scared.
You played
I
a bit?
genuinely started playing, and I was going, this ain't that bad. And then the first time you're in that room and the alien drops out of the ceiling, I'm like, nope, I'm done.
Oh
So
shit! Yeah.
It's not because I would just whatever the first room is where you don't have to do anything. I'd just stay there and not actually go into anything where anything bad could happen. Because why
Don't
would
worry.
you do that?
You don't have to face the alien as an enemy to start with. No. First of all, you have to face the terrifying, dead-eyed rubber androids as the actual first enemies. And those are a really easy introduction into the game. They're not scary at all. The way they march methodically after you and hurl you against walls and batter you if they get within an arm's reach.
I might have to play, but pretend I'm the annoying prick from Alien Romulus.
There we go.
And just like, oops, I died again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alien Isolation 2, no idea where it's going to pick up from, but it must pick up from sometime after she's rescued by the big grabby claw that comes out of the door after being blown into space at the end of the first game.
Mm-hmm.
Either that or it's going to be a prequel where she's encountered the aliens before but didn't reference it. Oh my God, what is that thing? Just played dumb during Alien Isolation.
I'd like a co-op version just because that will really annoy people because it's called Alien Isolation.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'd like to play a co-op version because I feel like that would make it more accessible to other people and would probably be hilarious for Let's Plays.
Mm-hmm.
Two people very quietly panicking in a locker.
Like most video game controllers have a microphone in them now.
Oh,
So like when you play FIFA, for example, I don't know whether it's still the case. If you played FIFA with like a headset on and you swore, you'd get a yellow card. So like I would love like a version of it where like you're literally having to like not talk too loud. That might be fun.
But still try and coordinate with your teammate.
Yeah, that there we go.
they had that feature in the PlayStation version because that had a mic integrated actually into the controller anyway. I think the PS4.
Yeah.
And if you turn that setting on, if you do talk too loudly, the alien will suddenly go, huh?
Yeah.
But,
If someone's playing, you just come up behind with an air horn.
I do love it. Like there's some amazing videos that break down how the artificial intelligence that runs the alien works
Yeah.
and how each part of its body acts as a sensor for more information input into the AI's thought tree.
Yeah.
And like the tail is a sensor as well, like, but it's only touch. So if it rubs against you, it doesn't know that it's you, but you feel different to the other stuff it's rubbed against. So it's aware that there's something wrong with that. And if you can sort of back away under the table just into the middle a bit better, like maybe you'll avoid it as long as you don't make any noise. But like it's got the forward vision of it, like cone of vision from the front of its head, but it's got sound detection. The rest of its head is like a cone around it, and all of its body and arms and legs are also able to detect through touch. But this is the best thing. The alien knows you're there. It just doesn't know where you are there. So its whole primary directive tree is, okay, target's in sight. Can I see target? No. Can I sense target? No. Can I hear target? No. Right, I better go on a path around. Oh, hang on, I've just heard a thing. Can I see target? No. Can I hear target? Yes, I heard target from over there. Okay, I'm going to move over there and try and acquire it. And it's really interesting watching it run through. Like there's some really, really interesting breakdowns. Like they absolutely fucking, I mean, so clever, clever because they made a genuinely terrifying
Even though
monster.
like quite a sort of a simple set of instructions, but just left to run it, and it does a really good job of feeling quite natural.
Yeah, because it never runs through that list. It never sort of perceivably runs through that list check by check because it's doing it at flight, speed.
Yeah.
It's just.
But you also don't get that thing where you can
this.
sort of see it switching from one preset behavior to another. There's no like I'm going on my route 3 around this thing now until
it'll
this
keep coming back. It comes
happens.
back like an animal, like if it heard you somewhere or it might have possibly seen you, it will go and have a look around. But if it can't find you, it'll go off to where it kind of last knew you were. But it'll come back. Like it's almost like it's tentatively sort of like, okay, no, all right, no, I'll go back down this corridor. Then it hears the locker door open. You step out. And it'll come back to the fucking locker. So, like, if you're now under the table over the other side of the room, like, okay, you're hidden from it because it thinks you might be in the locker. But if it turns round, it's going to fucking see you. So, like, the second it's got its back to you, you need to move or get the hell out of there in some way, shape, or form. Because it zeroes everything down and it goes through all of its checklists until it's like, right, you can only be there. And it does it surprisingly quickly. And don't try to shoot the fucker because you can't kill it.
No.
But you have my sympathy. Well, that was fun. I enjoyed that.
That's good. I think we've got to wrap this up.
Mummy?
Yeah, I've got to go on to a Gridiron Gentleman podcast now. So
Right, well, let's wrap this up. Titled then A Drum. Thank you very much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this. If there are any, I mean, obviously we didn't stick religiously to horror, but if there are any horror games or other video games that you think need a remake or a sequel, and we're talking about a remake, not just a remaster. Remasters are like, 50-50 in. Like a remake is full 100%. If you think there's any games out there that need a remake or a sequel, you let us know on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Use the handle at TMTOOH to find us. Or you can head to our Discord server. Just go to the Instagram at TMTOOH. Head to our bio. You'll find a link to our Discord server there. Join the conversations. There's plenty of stuff going on. There are podcasts and bits and bobs going up all the time. We've also got all the streams on our YouTube channel. You can listen into stuff on SoundCloud, iTunes, whatever you like to listen to your podcasts on. We are on there. You'll find us listed.
I'm gonna make a promise. As of the next podcast, okay, I promise they'll start going back up as podcasts again. Because I haven't done that in a while, okay? But from then on, the next podcast, whenever that is, maybe next week, maybe the week after, whenever that is, I promise that you will be able to listen to it as well as watch it.
That is a promise.
Yeah. as of then. Okay.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And also, Dan, feel free, ping over the audio files to me, mate. I've got the editing software. I can throw it together as well.
There we go then.
Bing,
See,
bingo,
gonna
bango.
happen, guys.
It's going to happen. But yeah, don't forget, head to our YouTube channel. Too much time on our hands. Head over to the live tab and you will find all of our streams are there and we cover all sorts of subjects and we hope you all enjoy them. Anyway, you've been listening to Russ, Dan and Tom. We're going to say goodbye. Goodbye, Russ.
Bye bye.
Goodbye, Dan.
I'm painting jackals, Tom.
Goodbye, Small Jackal. Goodbye,
Right?
Dan.
Yeah.
Bye, Handies. It's goodbye from me, Tom, Russ, and on that note, let us cue the music.